What do you mean? I mean,
What do you mean? What do you mean?
what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Mm-mm.
Oh man.
Well, while I'm eating, do you want to tell the story about uh,
Uh,
Hurricane Florence?
about who?
Hurricane Florence.
Um, what about it?
You tell me. You got the audio.
Oh man, you mean the podcast called Missing?
Yeah, the podcast where I built a fort in my own house to
Fortnite.
surround myself in blankets so I could dampen the sound because my neighbors were in a band and they played music all the time. And I had really high ceilings. And I was living in New Orleans. And it was the late summer.
You didn't have any area rugs to dampen the noise.
I had carpet. It was upstairs. Not that carpet has to be upstairs, but whatever. So I built this whole fort, and then the fan and the air conditioning, they caused way too much noise in the audio recording. And this is back when
Didn't you turn the AC down
turn it off.
Yeah.
Because it was so loud.
Didn't you crank it down before you recorded?
Yeah. I would crank it to like as cold as I could get that house. But that house was just so inefficient. I mean, there was so many. They were single pane windows that didn't even seal on any of the sides. I mean, it was like, so yeah. I mean, he got out of that house like nobody's business, man. So yeah, it didn't last long. Remember that? And I was like cramped up. I had my bed and then my dresser and then like some sheets like draped between the bed and the dresser. And I was like on the floor with like my mic like sitting like this and like with a beer next to me trying to like drink a beer with a computer. I'm sitting on the ground, right? And I had like pillows all around me. And yeah, I couldn't have the fan going. I couldn't have the AC going because it was so loud for the audio.
That was dedication.
We cared about. We were trying to like actually have good audio, and you know, I'm sure this audio sucks because I'm getting close to my mic and I'm getting really far from my mic and I'm getting really close to my mic and I'm sure.
What are you doing?
I'm sure it's going to drive people insane.
What are you doing?
I don't really care. Because remember, healthcare is a human right. And yeah, man, I sweated my butt off. It got up to like 80 something. And remember we were doing like checkups like every like 20 minutes. Be like, all right, what's the temperature now? And like
that's back when you had that little particle board.
I still have them. But,
still use it?
Yeah, there's one out of commission right now sitting over in my office area that but I still use the other ones. Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I think I have pictures of. But anyway, I just think it was like, it's so funny because I put all that effort into like, not only the cool recording and audio. Oh yeah, I have something to tell you after you tell the story. I told you that I was going to tell you. But go ahead and tell the story. I'm going to eat. And I'm also going to look up, see if I can find those pictures of, I got to be here somewhere.
Of the fort?
Yeah, of my fort. And then I took screenshots, I think, of the what do you call it? Screenshots of my temperature in my house, variations. Mm-hmm. So go ahead, Matt. I'm waiting for you to tell the story.
Well, there's not too much of a story. I mean, it was a cool episode. It was right around when Hurricane Florence was hitting. Was this like a year and a half ago? 2018 maybe?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. And yes, we were all hyped up on hurricanes and weathermen who were exaggerating more or less how severe hurricanes might be, or at least they were weathermen on
By the way, they're called weather people now,
weather people,
or weather person. They're
weather,
not just men.
and how they would have to act with these graphic trees or street signs flying towards them and storm surge coming at them in the studio, and just how ridiculous they looked. We were I don't know, we were it was an episode more or less just on hurricanes and kind of
How they're classified, like classifying them as like category 1, category 2, and
yeah,
how that's a silly way of classifying them, but it's also the only way because the public is, I'm going to say something controversial here, Matt. Are you ready for that?
yeah.
Not very smart. Yeah, the public is not very smart.
What?
It's controversial.
Not our listeners though.
Oh yeah, you guys are all geniuses, I'm sure. Watch, as soon as this goes on YouTube and we become famous, go look at the comments right now. You'll be able to see real quick how smart everybody is.
Yeah, and so post recording, I decided to save everything on a thumb drive and bring
Wait,
it home.
hold on. You got to explain why. Tell me what your recording setup was and why you were there.
So I was living with an older couple at home, so I couldn't record there, and we were recording late at night. So I had to go into my office to record, but my window was it was raining outside, and because of our trying to get the perfect audio setup going for us, that wasn't the rain pattern on the window wasn't going to cut it for us. So I had to go into a centrally located office in my building. So I had to go onto a coworker's computer to record the episode and saved it on a thumb drive. And when I was transferring it and bringing it home, I dropped the thumb drive in my car and couldn't find it. Forgot to take it out that night. Went looking for it the next day, couldn't find it. And then a year later, more or less, I was cleaning out my car and found it. I don't know how much of this Ryan knows, but yeah, I found it under my seat, tucked it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that French fry that you have under your seat.
Oh, you know about that French fry?
Yeah. Is it in the shape of a USB stick?
Yeah. He was not happy about that. And he only just found out about a week or two ago that it exists.
Yeah. I mean, to your credit, you did go back and like, yeah, I mean, I could tell you felt bad, man. You felt bad about like losing it. And like you did everything you could to go back. But the problem was like it was your coworker's computer, man. Like you can't just like go snooping around, and you had deleted it anyway to like make sure that they wouldn't find it. And
I usually keep good track of stuff too. It's just the whole transferring stuff, and my car is a mess. So
mine is not.
I was frustrated
always.
Yeah.
So wait a minute though. So you find this USB stick under your seat. Did you immediately know that was the USB stick, or do you have like a bunch of them and you're like, I wonder what's on this thing?
Yeah, I think I immediately.
You knew?
I almost was hoping that it wasn't though, because I knew how mad you would be.
So that was the last episode we ever recorded, by the way.
Yeah.
Like after that, I was so heartbroken because I put so much like, that was like our make or break episode.
Mm-hmm.
I already interviewed somebody in a submarine. I interviewed some like really famous social media influencers. and like a really, really famous comedian. And then we had done like 2 or 3 episodes. And I had my neighbor who was like an audio producer set up. We were sort of starting to, get it to the point where he was going to produce our episodes. And this was it. This was the final one. I followed all of my neighbor's advice about getting good audio. So did Matt. Matt, like, he made sure he wasn't near a room with the
rain.
Wake up with the rain falling. And I even contacted my other neighbors and I said, hey guys, by the way, I'm doing a podcast. So, I would text them in advance to like not play music, play their drums and stuff like during our recordings. And then we recorded this episode and I was sweating my balls off and 84 degrees and no AC or nothing underneath sheets and pillows. And so here's what you didn't know, Matt. After we recorded that episode, I was so proud of it, man. I was like, this is good. This is gold. We're gonna be launching this. It's gonna be great. And remember our protocol, right? It was like right away, like upload it to the cloud. And you were like, oh crap, I lost it. I don't know where it is. I'll go back and check tomorrow. And I was just like, okay. But I was still pretty stoked. So as I was uploading it to the cloud, I went downstairs and I plugged it into my stereo system, my like legit speakers. And I think I was like making dinner or eating dinner, whatever I was doing. And I listened back to it. And that means there would be long pauses where, not very long because I talk a lot, but where I wasn't saying anything and you were talking, right? But so I'm just listening to only my track, not even yours. And I was okay with like listening to like a weird half of the recording audio because I was so stoked. I wanted to hear all the things I said again. And I was like, man, I made some good points about classification of hurricanes, man. That was a good one. And I listened back to it a couple of times, and like, to kind of also just listen to how I sound and improve my audio and all that kind of stuff. I was so excited, man. I listened to that right away, multiple times that night. Yeah. I converted it from WAV to like MP3 format. I mean, I did everything. I was so stoked.
Oh shit. I didn't realize all this.
Yeah. And Matt just, I never felt the need to tell you that. I mean, because it didn't matter because it was gone.
Yeah. Oh no. Well, maybe we can have a special release one day.
I'm going to leave that up to you to stitch that all together.
Yeah.
You should have it. You should have my audio. It should be on your computer or on your cloud somewhere.
Yeah, I think I still have the Watering Hole podcast Google Drive synced up.
Yeah.
Woo! Fumbling on the goal line.
What?
Fumbled on the goal line.
Oh, yeah, dude. You're like that guy that like drops the ball because he thinks he's already in the end zone.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I thought it was pretty funny.
Hurricane Florence.
And now was before I ever knew that I was going to be living in Wilmington, which got devastated from Hurricane Florence.
True.
There's still people who haven't moved back into their houses yet, but they just made a move out of their FEMA trailers like 2 weeks ago, which is totally screwed because like it's in the middle of a pandemic. Yeah. And FEMA's made those people, they had like 18 months.
Yeah.
And it expired. And they didn't extend it. So the people who are still living in FEMA trailers, it's a pandemic. Where are they going to go?
Well,
Google it.
Google it.